Okay, this is part 2 of the patch analysis for 6.87. I'm just going to carry on with it as it was. For those of you that skipped ahead, you've not really missed a great deal, but watch it if you want. If you obviously you don't, that's why you skipped ahead. So, straight on to these items. Blood Dawn, new item form from Orchid, Crystallis and Recipe. This got me really excited when I first saw it. So, Orchid Crystallis Recipe costs 7,195 gold. Active, all attacks and silenced targets, including from allies, gain True Strike and 1.35 times critical hit. Still applies the same silence from Orchid. It's also got a short cooldown than Orchid. And passively grant that gives you basically the crit from the Crystallis. Right, I got really excited by this. I went and played a game with Clinks. I haven't built Orchid on Clinks in a very long time. I just don't think it's a good build up for him, so I thought, oh yeah, this is going to be awesome. You can build up an Orchid for him, but do not build it into this straight away unless you're against something like a PA or a Windrunner or something like that. The thing about Orchid is it's very easily broken through Manta, Yules and stuff like that, or it just generally gets purged. Which means you then lose the True Strike. So you can't rely on this against people like PA. You still are going to need an MKB. And also, don't build straight into it. It's 7,195 gold. The recipe is 1,000. If you've got a Crystallis, keep saving your money and get your Daedalus first. This is, if you're building an Orchid on someone, whoever it is, if it's you're 100% building it, don't rush this item. This is like when you start becoming low on slots, like you're going Quaswex Invoker or something like that, and you build an Orchid. You 6 slots very quickly and very easily. This kind of gives you another little option, and that is exactly what it is. This is luxury. Honestly, just it's not worth doing it. The Crystallis crit damage is not good. If it's crit that you want, just get a Daedalus. Build your Crystallis into a Daedalus. Do not buy the recipe and complete this. It's just not worth it. Nearly 7.2k gold is a lot. But it does open up the option to build Orchid onto people and have options for it later, because you do feel later when BKBs come online and stuff like that, the Orchid it's very few and far between when it's actually useful. Whereas when you can put a little bit more extra damage into it and attack speed, and then it's kind of cool. So it is a cool item, but if you get an Orchid, don't rush into finishing this off. This is a late game luxury completion afterwards. Once you've got your Daedalus, and even if you've already got an MKB, but it helps allies. You give allies True Strike, so you got your MKB for your problems, but it helps allies with it as well. So yeah, Echo Saber, new item form from Oblivion Staff and Nova Club. I'm really glad that they've put Oblivion Staff into the recipe for something else, because it used to be on Orchid and it used to be part of the Refreshers recipe, and then they changed it. So I always thought it was kind of like I've always felt like it should have gone into something else, and it does do. This item costs 2,650 gold, gives you 10 strength, 10 intelligence, 10 attack speed, 10 damage, 75 mana regen. Causes melee attacks to attack twice in quick succession. Your double attack applies 0.6 seconds after applies a 0.6 second 100% MSAS slow, and has a 5-second cooldown. I don't understand what MSAS is, but either way, this is basically Germinate attack for melee heroes if you pick it up. The only person that so far that I can think this is pretty good on is Slark, who struggles for mana regen. It's a relatively cheap item for him. He does struggle for mana regen sometimes. This could solve some of his problems. Also, the double attack's good to go with Essence Shift. It could be good for Wraith King, another hero that sometimes struggles with mana. Not a great deal. He more struggles. It's not like regenerating it as he's like moving around the map and stuff like that. It's more his problem is more faced with it running out before he uses his ult. But still, the double attack is good. It's going to be good for heroes with passives that rely on right clicking. People like maybe Void or Spirit Breaker, Slardar. I'm not saying this will be good on those heroes. Slardar may be pretty good, because with the 50 it actually tells it 25 damage for Slardar. You're not going to pick it up on someone like Anti-Mage, because he already builds enough items to maintain his mana, so he really doesn't need the mana issues, and the double attack's not going to do a great deal because you just build attack speed items for it. If you've got heroes that you build to hit hard and not fast, so just big like heavy one hitters, so you don't build attack speed on Wraith King, you go for like the Basher build and stuff like that, then it's good. It will combine well with bashes and maybe crits and and stuff. But again, you're still not going to buy it on someone like Juggernaut, I don't think. But it's interesting. Like I say, relatively cheap as well. I think this in the future could do okay building into something else. Call me greedy. I don't know. Maybe you could maybe add this to Sandra and Yasha, make it the little triple that everyone's been asking for, but everyone's an intelligence thing for that. But I don't know, maybe that's intelligence, so we'll see. But yeah, it's a decent mid-game item. It'll get hard carries involved a little bit earlier. Again, this kind of will be alright on slog. Anyway, next item, Blightstone. Reduces armor by 2 on attack, available in the side shop. Item is used in Desolator and Medallion of Courage. That replaces the 300 gold. I'll give you spoilers for it. It replaces the 300 gold recipe and replaces the Sage's Mask for Medallion of Courage. So Medallion of Courage is 25 gold cheaper due to this. It kind of makes sense because the Desolator was 2 damage items in a recipe and all of a sudden made minus damage. It was, but this it's more of a sense making thing. This, but it's also a nice little casual pickup for 300 gold. If you are going to go into a Desolator, 1600 gold for the Mithril Hammer is quite a bit. Whereas if you got 300, you can take 2 armor off people. Not to be sniffed at. Consumable items, infused raindrops, gives you plus 0.85 mana regen, comes with 5 charges. The item is destroyed when it reaches 0 charges. When you receive over 50 magic damage, it procs, consuming the charge and blocking 120 of said magic damage. The proc has a 4-second cooldown. During the cooldown, does not consume charges nor block any damage during the cooldown. Does not affect any damage below 50. Becomes available to purchase at 3 minutes. So you can't purchase this until the 3-minute mark. It's going to be good if you're in a lane against like kind of a heavy magic harasser, like someone like a Rubik who's going to spam Fade Bolt on you, who's going to lift you and Fade Bolt. Yeah, this is going to block some of that damage. Good for offlaners, I think. The mana regen's pretty decent for it as well. But I think if someone sees this on a hero, they're going to be like, right, get rid of it, and they're just going to throw, ideally, about 120 damage nukes at you to try and block it. This isn't going to work for like wave damage, like something like Dark Pact or something, which is done in ticks, or Venomous Gale, which is done in ticks. That's not going to work. But it is going to work for stuff like Lena's Dragon Slave. So if she throws a Dragon Slave over you, this will proc it. Scream of Pain will block it. And it disappears after it's been used. I'm going to be interested to see how this works. It's going to be picked up at the 3-minute mark, and it's going to be relatively useless after the 10 minutes. So it is just going to help with that kind of early laning, I suppose. I think it's going to be more targeted at off laners or physical damage. Melee heroes on the mid lane versus magic damage heroes. Like say if you've got a Dragon Knight versus a Lena or a Dragon Knight versus a Quap, something like that. That might just help out a little bit. Might get a sense out with your boots, maybe. But 225 gold seems a little bit expensive. Windlace, 20 movement speed, available in the side shop, 225 gold. Item used in drums and mules. Multiple instances do not stack. Yeah, this has replaced a couple of things in drums and mules. Kind of cool. If you are going to build into drums and mules, you've already got your boots. You can pick this up for just a little bit of a movement speed boost before they come in. These are movement speed items that did not have any movement speed items built into them. Similar to the armor reduction thing, it kind of makes a little bit more sense with how it's built up and what it gives at the end. I actually find you move a little bit slower once you complete the drums from this. So the drums is actually, in movement speed wise, is a downgrade from this. Mules obviously being an upgrade. Cool. I do like these new little items that they're putting in, like little cost efficient ones that you'll pick up and kind of help you get through that laning phase a little bit more. But there's more items to go. They've added quite a lot this patch. I didn't think they would do because they added a lot in the last one. New consumable item, cost 150 gold. The Tomb of Knowledge grants you 425 experience. Starts out of stock, increments stock every 10 minutes, so it will stack up, but the first one's available at 10 minutes. So 425 gold. I'm not sure who you're going to give this to. I don't know if you're going to give it to supports to get them that level 6 at 10 minutes, because a lot of supports don't have that, the level 6 yet, so you can give them the first one. It might help, especially if it's a big ulti like Lion with his Finger of Death, or you want to get some track online and start fighting. Bounty can't normally get it by 10 minutes anyway. So it's going to be interesting to see how this is used, or if you get a carry that's been ganked multiply and shut down in lane is a little bit behind, you can give them this just to give them that little bit of a boost. So that's going to be one for contention amongst the team. So like, oh, who's bought and used that? There's going to be a lot of whinging done. I wonder if you can use it on other people as well. So I don't know if it's a pork or bite for a carry. maybe. Hurricane Pike. This item is really interesting. I want to know how it's going to work. This could be ridiculous, this item. So this is made from a 4-staff, a Dragon Lance, and a recipe. So Dragon Lance obviously was really underutilized because it was a bit crap. It was then broke. It was usually then broken and made into something else. It's also what they haven't done is they don't show you how this has changed in its build up because this is all new items. Dragon Lance is now, I'm going to give it a bit of a spoiler here, Dragon Lance is no longer made from an Ogre Club and a Quarterstaff. It's now made from an Ogre Club and 2 Elven Skin bands. Hence why you get 20 agility from it instead of any attack speed. So you get the attack range for ranged heroes, 15 strength and 10 intelligence. Active when used on an enemy, it pushes both away from each other 450 units each. So if you're in melee range of someone, say someone jumps you, and this is where it stands out for me. Drow Ranger, someone jumps on you, cancels your passive. You all of a sudden you're 900 units away, and it allows you to attack the target without range restrictions. 4 attacks for a maximum of 5 seconds. So you get 3 attacks on them, 4 attacks with no range restriction. If they start running away after you do this, your attacks are still going to go. Does not give vision over the enemy. Restriction not removed when used by a melee hero. So I think that means I need to try this one actually. This has not been used. This works on a melee hero. Ranged restriction is not removed. So it doesn't work. Melee works normally like 4-staff. So you use it normally like a 4-staff. But anyway, my main thing: if someone jumps on you as Drow, you can literally force yourself away back to safety, reactivate your passive, and start going on them. It's a bit nuts. It's really cool. It can work well for people like Clinks and stuff like that. It's a really good defensive item for them. And again, makes Dragon Lance worth getting. I don't know which order you get stuff in though. I think it depends how the game's going. If you're keep getting in a spot bother, maybe the 4-staff first. But that's cheap for the recipe. I can see this going up. This item could be pretty broken. So range restriction is not removed. Okay, yeah. So you can't use it on a melee hero. You can't like be a melee hero, push someone away, and then attack them even though you right. Okay, yeah, cool. Makes sense. I was gonna say that'd be a bit stupid. Okay, item changes. Now I've done with the new ones. Skull Basher. This is you're gonna wonder why they've nerfed it, but all will become apparent. And my Vanguard talk earlier will come into play. Bash damage reduced from 120 to 85. Recipe cost reduced from 1,000 to 750. Okay, so the bash does less damage when it hits. The recipe costs less. Kind of balances it out. Bash has been nerfed a little bit, in my opinion, there. However, Abyssal Blade now requires a Basher, a Vanguard, and a 1,550 gold recipe. Used to cost 6,750, now costs 6,400. Previously gave 10 strength, 70 damage, now gives 10 strength and 10 damage. However, it gives you 250 health and 15 mana regen. Back are the days of AM Vanguard, I think. It was an old school thing. And this is also, I know everyone's going to be like, oh, friggin' hell, Spectre. Like, Spectre has been changed a fair bit, and I'm quite happy that she hasn't been nerfed ridiculously, because but like they've nerfed Ern a little bit towards her direction. But no, this is really cool. I think it's going to make more sense to go Vanguard and Spectre again, because Basher is an item that she could always have done with, but never really had the slots for it. It never kind of made it worth it. It was quite situational on her in a lot of cases, but was always good when you did get it. So now you can build the Vanguard and you can build in something useful for someone like Spectre. I really think this is a really cool little change. Like I say, AM used to be a Vanguard builder. He used a bit of an old build. It might make a bit of a resurgence now. Will help him fight early and stuff. Bit of extra health. So no, I actually like this. You obviously get the damage block as well that you normally get. This is where it gets a bit nuts. This is like, you're probably thinking, oh, it's not that good. Overwhelm mana cost has been reduced by half. Overwhelm cooldown has been reduced by nearly half. Every 35 seconds you can use Overwhelm. That is insane. Bash damage has been reduced. Yep, we know about that. We don't really care. You can lock someone in place every 35 seconds and it costs you very little mana to do so. Abyssal Blade is ridiculous now for me. This is like really good. I say ridiculous. It's not ridiculous. It's really good though. I'm really looking forward to using it. I'm looking forward to playing AM. I haven't played AM this patch because he's been crap. Because although he used to counter invoker, he just suddenly doesn't seem to. And obviously OD being the way he is, he doesn't counter him either. So no, I'm really happy about this. I actually like this item. I like the changes to it. It's cheaper and it's an easier build up. It's a more rewarding build up as well. Aether Lens. Aether Lens spell amplification reduced from 8 to 5%. That's down to the fact that intelligence heroes have got to have the natural damage amp anyway, so they needed to do this. I don't think people tended to get the Aether Lens for the damage amp anyway. I think they got it for the cast range increase. Animal courier respawn time reduced. Okay, just talk over it. This is just the walking courier. So when your courier dies, it used to be a 3-minute respawn. It's not anymore. It is for the flying one, but not for the walking one. So when an annoying bounty hunter comes across and kills your walking courier, you get it back 20 seconds sooner, which is good and I think fair. Armlet of Morrigan. Unholy Strength now grants 5 armor. It always granted 5, but when it's active, you get an extra 5, basically. So you get 10 when it's active, which is pretty good. Makes people tanky. It was an underused item. I know it was occasionally picked up on certain picks like Chaos Knight every now and again, and obviously the whole Huskar thing. Huskar's actually been buffed. Actually, we'll see that in a bit. So I think this we could have. I think this is a strength patch, to be honest. After looking at everything, I really think this is a strength patch. Right, this next one is nuts. Blade Mail now returns damage before reduction and returns it the same type as it was received. So that's similar to when they buffed Spectre 2 patches ago and they changed her dispersion. So if you, and it's no longer ignores spell immune enemies. This means basically if you activate Blade Mail and Lena BKBs and uses Dragon Slave, the magic damage will not go back onto it. If she Laguna Blades you, however, she will take that damage. If Sven runs up to you and hits you, he's got God Strength on and a Daedalus, and he runs up to you and he hits you, all of his damage is going to be reflected back onto him. He's going to have Warcry up if he's hitting someone with Blade Mail, because it's going to just come back to him full pelt and it's going to really hurt. This is insane on someone like Axe, because obviously when Axe uses Call, he gets 40 armor. This ignores the armor when sending it back. However, when Axe takes the damage, it takes it into account. I think Axe is going to be pretty broken again. It was only a few patches ago where he was broken, but I think he's going to be insane. Good for Legion Commander as well, but mainly I just think Axe's Blink Core. People are going to take their full right click damage back off him, even though he's not going to take it all himself. It's going to hurt a lot. So it's going to be really interesting to see how this one turns out. Axe has also had a buff, which we will see soon. It's a bit naughty. So yeah, Blade Mail, really big item now, really good defensive item as well. I think a lot of people are going to be picking up more like on heroes that you don't normally see it on. Like it used to get picked up on Prophet quite a bit. I don't know if we might see that again. Anyway, Bloodstone, initial charges increase from 8 to 12. That's quite a big buff, that's a lot of health and mana regen just for getting the Bloodstone. It was a decent amount anyway, it's going to be a lot now, and those charges are going to diminish a lot slower if you die and so on, but you're going to be able to buff it up sooner as well. So maybe the Resurgence of Storm here, he hasn't had a buff, he has had a change, but it's not a buff, it's not a nerf, you'll see. Butterfly, flutter cooldown reduction from 35 to 25, so you can get the movement speed a little bit more often. It gives you a little bit more mobility around the map. Crimson Guard, cooldown reduction from 60 to 50, which means obviously you can just put it up 10 seconds sooner. HP regen increased by 2. So your Vanguard change. So your Vanguard is in B, we are on C. This is quite annoying. So they've done this a lot. They've just things like you don't know what's going on with it. Now requires Blightstone on Desolate. We know about this. Diffusal Blade now has a cooldown again, but it's only 2 seconds, so you can still keep applying it, but it means you're timing it a little bit better for how long it lasts. Mana burn by melee and ranged illusions has been reduced a little bit, but mana burn by melee ranged heroes has increased considerably. So Diffusal Blade on the main target is going to do a lot. This is a buff to Ricky, who doesn't utilise illusions for it. He uses it himself. I mean, he doesn't do it for the damage, he does it for the being able to purge, obviously to slow people and keep killing them, and for getting rid of his own dust on himself. So yeah, that is quite a lot. That's nearly double. It's really good for. I mean, this, like I say, this is quite minimal. There's like 5 less on illusions, so people like Spectre and Naga, but like I say, their main heroes are going to do a lot more. Dragonlance, like I've already covered this one. It's Band of Elven Skin. Costs a little bit more. However, you get a lot of agility from it. Again, this is going to be good for Drow. Drums of Endurance now requires Bracer, Ring of Protection, Wind Lace, and 700 Recipe. So this is the nerf I was talking about. Same intelligence, you get 3 less strength, and you get 6 less agility. So any intelligence heroes that pick this up don't benefit from the tankiness that it used to give like they used to. However, you do get the 3 HP regen from it. Kind of cool. Costs a little bit less gold as well. I don't know if this is. I just consider this a change. I won't consider it a nerf or a buff. I just consider it a change. Still a good item, to be honest. Again, just not to be picked up for intelligence heroes for tankiness as often as it used to. Yule Scepter now requires Wind Lace instead of Sage's Mask. We've covered that, so it costs 25 gold less. Flying Courier, cost reduced again to help out supports. Gem of True Sight radius from 1,100 to 900. That's quite a bit of a nerf to it, really. Invis heroes could be quite strong this patch, I think. People like Ricky. Ghost Scepter Ghost Form cooldown reduced by 5 seconds. It's pretty cool, I suppose, but no team fight is going to last that long anyway. I don't know if that carries over to Ethereal. I don't think it does, it would have said so. Glimmercape mana cost reduced from 110 to 9. That's kind of cool. I found myself like in team fights, you spend all your mana on keeping people alive, and then when you need to get out of there, you've not got enough mana for Glimmer. It was annoying. So, okay, that's a little bit of a buff to Glimmercape. It was picked up a little bit less. Guardian Greaves recipe increased by 50 gold. Neither here nor there, to be honest. Still going to pick it up anyway. It's a really good item. You're still going to get it. You're still going to want to hurry up and get it just for the debuff. Heart of Taras strength bonus increased from 40 to 45. So, you get. It's a health bonus reduced as well from 300 to 250. That's actually 245 because you get you're going to get 5 more HP per strength because of the change. It's also damage as well though. So change to Heart of Tarask, not buff, I'd say, or nerf. Heaven's Halberd disarm duration on ranged targets increased by a second. So I think this is to counteract the fact that of the change with the Dragonlance and the Hurricane Pike and stuff like that. So you can, when people use that, you're going to be able to disarm them a little bit better. So if you're going to go on someone like Drow who's got a Hurricane Pike or something and you get in close range, so you disarm her first, she uses a pike and she can't attack you anyway. So it just baits out the cooldown for it. Hood of Defiance, remove 1 ring of regen from Hood of Defiance. HP regen updated to match the Ring of Health and Recipe change. Okay, so gives less regen. Recipe change. I'm not so sure what the recipe change is, to be honest. It says recipe change, but doesn't say anything about it. I don't know. It's got to be some sort of buff. They've been trying to buff this item forever. Lincoln Sphere recipe cost reduced from 1,325 to 1,000. Good. Items not picked up. Weaver's going to like that. 1,325 was a lot for the Lincoln's recipe, to be fair. You used to get like the Perseverance and the Ultimate Orb, and then you just feel like it was forever before you actually completed the item. It's cool, happy with that. Lotus Orb now requires an energy booster instead of a 900 gold recipe, now provides 250 mana, so slight buff, well a big buff actually, to be honest. Recipes don't actually offer anything, whereas you get this extra mana from Lotus Orbs. Pretty cool. Might encourage people to pick it up earlier if you have mana issues, like there's a slight change to Bounty that's going to cost his mana a little bit, so you might want to pick that up a little bit earlier, and pick it up against Bounty obviously as well. HP regen increased from 5 to 6. So that's the Ring of Health change. Mask of Madness, activate damage amplification reduced from 30% to 25%, so you don't take as much damage when you've got it active. The only person I think of recently that picks this up a lot is Ursa, who has damage block anyway, so that makes Ursa even stronger. Who is a complete pub stomp anyway. So we shall see on that one. Medallion of Courage, we cover this one, requires Blightstone instead of a recipe. I think that's a similar price, wasn't it? Observer Ward. I'm going to go straight to the bottom. These 3 changes are all adjusted in the same proportion. Gold experience rescaled. You used to get 50 gold and 100 experience. You now get 100 gold and 25 experience. So, don't know if still think you should give it to sports if they bought the wards to deward it. So, if you can get two of these in one, you're going to be happy. You got your money back. Duration reduced from 7 to 6 minutes. However, the restock interval has been reduced as well. So it comes in stock more often, but you don't have as vision for as long. So you have to use them a little bit more sparingly, I think. Or it just means you're going to be able to move your vision around a lot more frequently. And cost reduced by 10 gold. This is cool. So orbs cost less, so more likely for people to pick it up. Cores can pick it up themselves a little bit more frequently now as well. Octarine Core no longer provides HP regen, mana regen reduced from 100% to 50%. This is tied into the Soul Booster nerf, which is a bit further down. This is a nerf to the item. It's a luxury item anyway. There's not many people that it is completely core on. One of the people I think of that it is actually core on is Death Prophet, which she's not going to worry about this because she relies on Octarine Core for its cooldown more than anything, and it also gives the lifesteal from her ulti. And mana regen, she's normally got a Yules or something like that as well. Kind of hurts the Invoker build. You're going to have to again change the way Invoker's built a little bit because you didn't really have a great deal of mana regen on Invoker with the items that you built on him until you got Octarine Core, and that has now been halved. So that hurts him quite a bit. You are going to have to most likely go back for the Yules, or maybe go into an Orchid and later on complete the magical thing, that whatever it's called, I can't remember. Bad memory. So yeah, like I say, the Octarine Core is more of a luxury item than anything. Actually hurts any sort of Naga plays. I know a lot of people like to use it on Naga. Yeah, it's actually quite a bit of a nerf, to be honest, but it's a very expensive item, and I do say it's a luxury item anyway, or quirky build item. HP regen increase from 5 to 6, so Ring of Health change. Remove Pipe of Insight, barrier stack limit duration. So I'm pretty sure that this, and obviously that's changed because of the HUD changes. From what I can gather from this is you can actually put a pipe on your team. When all the spell shield is gone, if someone else has a pipe, you can activate it and it'll come back up. You used to not be able to reapply the barrier for a certain amount of time, similar to what they've got with Crimson Guard. So they've removed that now, so you can keep a pipe on all the time. Not all the time, obviously, but if two people have got a pipe, you can stack it accordingly, which is pretty cool, I think. Point booster health bonus reduced from 200 to 175, and mana bonus increased from 150 to 175. So it builds into are updated accordingly. So you get less health from it, but you get more mana for it. So a nerf to intelligence heroes who like the tankiness of it. Refresher HP regen increase from 10 to 12. That's the Ring of Health change. Ring of Aquila and Ring of Basilius both have lost 1 armor, and damage has increased to 10 and increased from 6 to 7. 9 to 10 and 6 to 7. I'd say slight nerf. People were picking up the Aquila and Basilius for the armor. There was intelligence heroes picking it up for that purpose, but I do think it's picked up for the early mana regen. If you don't want to, like Invoker wasn't really picking up Yules and Orchid and stuff, he was waiting for the Octarine for his mana regen, and this will tide him over in the meantime. Still will, but you get less tankiness from it, but you do get slightly more damage. I expected it to get nerfed a little bit more than that, but it didn't, so there you go. So only the Aura gives armor. Ring of Health, this is the change, got an extra 1 HP regen from it. Ring of Regen cost reduced by 25. Rod of Atos removed, chance to true strikes. So they only put that on last patch, but they've removed it already. I don't know if that's to do with the new Orchid style thing with the Crystallis that's come in. Don't they feel there's enough true strike going on? Sanj and Yasha. I'm going to cover these together. Main chance increased from 15 to 20, 16 to 30 on Sanj and Yasha. Main slow reduced from 20 to 20 and 10 for range, so a nerf to ranged heroes carrying Sanj and Yasha, and 32 to 26 and 13. Again, quite a big nerf to range ones, but this makes Sanj and Yasha extremely strong again. I'm going to move on to one of the next items, and they are going to tie in together. It's going to become quite apparent, but this is actually a pretty big change for me. For people who used to build Sanjunyashas that don't anymore, like Slark could spring into mind again, will probably start building this again. You will see why. Shadow Amulet cost reduced, so Shadowblade is now 100 gold cheaper, and there's a change to Silver's Edge. And this is why I'm going to keep all these on the same page as best I can. There we go. Silver's Edge now requires a Shadowblade and Ultimate Orb instead of Shadowblade Sanjashra and Recipe, and can be disassembled. So what you can do with Slark now is you can get a Shadowblade, pick up a casual Ultimate Orb to build into your Skadi, and it'll make a Silver's Edge, and then you can disassemble it if you want to, but you don't have to. You can keep this because this is ridiculous. It costs considerably less gold, 650 gold less, gives 2 more damage, doesn't give any strength, so it doesn't make it any more tankiness in that sense. However, it gives you 15 stats, which include strength, plus you get agility, plus you get intelligence. That is awesome. Backstab damage has been increased as well. Reduction has increased from 40 to 50%. So, ignoring that for now. Silver's Edge can now be picked up, because when I used to pick up Silver's Edge, I always used to build Sanjunyashra on Slark. I just liked the fact that you guaranteed 5 maximum movement speed, and even in fights you had a lot of movement speed, which was really, really good. It was just using the Sanj meant I was like, oh, I've already got Sanj, I'm not going to bother getting Yasha, it's not going to do anything, I can't build Sanjunyashra. Now you can build Sanjunyashra and you can build a Silver's Edge. Like I say, you can casually pick up the Ultimate Orb for your Skadi. You can break it if you want to, although if you have a good enough game, just get a Skadi as well. Or you can disassemble it, complete Skadi, and then complete Silver's Edge again later. I think this is a bit nuts, really. Again, it's still going to have all the same properties where it disables passives and stuff. This is quite a big change for me. Again, strength and agility heroes are really enjoying this patch from what I can see so far. Stock replenish time on Smoker's Seat reduced from 12 to 11 minutes, so it replenishes a minute faster. No longer has a cooldown attached to your hero when used. This means you can have 2 smokes on your hero. Normally you'd have to split it onto your supports with a bit of coordination, but if no one else is buying the smokes and no one else is coordinating smokes, it means you can go, let's smoke Rosh. And when you smoke into Rosh and you kill Rosh, you can smoke again and come out of Rosh and go and gank immediately with your Aegis, which is a bit insane, really. But I've always felt like it's cool. Like I say, normally if you were to do something like that, if you watch like coordinated teams like 5 stacks or pro teams or just high level players, they will split their smokes between their supports. Whereas now you can just put it on one. So small change there, but also kind of cool. And if you're the one making the plays as a support and no one else is doing it, it helps you make it a little bit more. Soul boost there, no longer provides a regen, and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, C back to Octarine. Like I say, this is a soul boost thing. Talisman of Evasion cost reduced by 100 gold. Butterfly's cheaper. Happy days. It's cool. Probably, don't really know. That buffs Halberd again, which got changed. TB scroll reduced again. This was 150 gold not so long ago. No excuses, guys. There was no excuses at 75, but there's really no excuses to not have a TP now, and no excuse to not drop one either for carries. HP regen increased from 6 to 8 on Vanguard, making it a better item. I stand by it. AM Vanguard is back. Spectre Vanguard will also be back due to this. Veil of Discord now requires a Helm of Iron Will, 2 null talismans, and a 40 gold recipe. Costs a little bit less, 30 gold. And basically the main thing that's changed is the intelligence. It gives less intelligence now, so it still gives, so it's 30 less. It can now be dispelled as well, which I always think it should have been. I always think Veil should have been dispellable. It gives 6 less intelligence, so a little bit of a nerf to intelligence heroes. However, the 2 null tallies, that's something you'd pick up pretty early on. A double null tally on an intelligence hero early on is really, really good for stats and stuff. So yeah, that's pretty cool. So yeah, small change. Like I said, the dispellable should have always been happened. Right, last one for the items section. Volimir's offering aura reduced that from 5 to 4. That's obviously in coordination with the Ring of Basilius drop as well. Okay, so I'm going to end this section here, and I will be back on my next video for the heroes section. Please join me there.